This is Johnny and Jose with TigerBomb MMA, and today we'll be going over UFC Fight Night Blaydes versus Aspinall taking place in the O2 Arena. Interesting set of card. Whole card is fantastic in my opinion. The main event is quite difficult, really. Like if you really want to break it down, we can spend the entire time we're going to do this breaking down that fight. But fantastic card. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see if Paddy Pimblett gets I was gonna say twatted on, but twerked on, maybe twatted on. Who the hell knows? But let's get started with the first fight of the night. And looks what's back. We've got the cards. Jose, actually, let me fix the view on this shit. No, that's better. But first fight of the night, short notice, Ludovic Klein versus Mason Jones. Currently, the odds have it in favor of, if we have odds, let's find out. Floating around Mason Jones minus 340, comeback on Klein is plus 250. This one to me, like, it's not a good fight for Ludovic Klein. Mason Jones is really tough. He's got a really good chin. He's got black belts in both jiu-jitsu and is it judo? I always think sambo for some reason. The guy, I think he's really strong. If he fights intelligently, Mason Jones, that is, I think it should be a very easy fight for him. Maybe not incredibly easy. He's not going to be a walk in the park. He might not finish Klein because Klein is tough, right? Like, his striking is excellent. His left high kick, you always have to look out for that. That's his like money move. But at lightweight, right? He moved up to lightweight from featherweight, and he looked better. He actually beat the shit out of Devonte Smith, who was another guy who I thought was like going to implement a similar style to Jones, a really big, strong dude. Hold Klein down. Didn't really work out that way. Klein really showed his toughness and his overall strength at lightweight. But I just think Jones is on a different level right now. As long as Jones doesn't pull like a Vandera, which I think I'm going to start using that. Like, don't pull a Vandera, because Vandera, as we notice, he's a good enough wrestler. He should win via wrestling, but he chooses to strike. As long as he doesn't Vandera himself, he should win this one using his grappling. And I can predict him getting a finish, but I just think he's going to get a decision on this one. So I'll go with Mason Jones. Would he be a good parlay piece? Maybe. Maybe don't go crazy with it. Just add him onto a couple parlays, but I'll go with Mason Jones by a decision. Klein is tough, but I think he's just going to be outmatched by the more skilled Mason Jones.
Yeah, I would say if you're gonna, well, okay. I'm also going with Mason by decision. I don't think either guy has. I don't think we're gonna see any crazy submission attempts or not, possible knockouts or TKOs. I should say in this fight. But yeah, if you're gonna bet on this particular fight, uh, maybe add it to your $1 long shot parlay. If you're gonna do like a 10 team parlay or whatever, for a dollar, I'd say that's probably the one to add it on. Don't add it on to like, let me see, I'm gonna bet $100 on Mason Jones and whatever other fight as a two-person parlay. Yeah, this isn't really the fight for that. So be very careful with this one. I mean, Mason Jones, like in my mind, has it. It's probably it's definitely his fight to lose, but crazy things happen in MMA, so be very
Yes, they
careful with this
do.
one.
Like dislocated shoulders.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Next fight, we've got Nicholas Dalby versus Claudio Silva, and the odds currently have it in favor of Nicholas Dalby, roughly around minus 280. Comeback on Silva is a plus 230. I would agree with the odds, but those of you in the know, kind of, you can't really trust Nicholas Dalby. Like Claudio Silva, like I think he's at this point at the end of his career. Like he's 39 years old. I mean, Dalby's 37, but I think he's more spry than Claudio Silva. I think Dalby has maybe another year or two left in the tank, but Silva, I think we've kind of figured out what his game plan is like maybe strike wild and try to get it to the ground to get an opportunistic, not even opportunistic. Like he sets shit up. He's very good on the ground, right? But like that's what he's looking for, that submission. And as of late, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. And I feel as if veterans have figured him out. Like they know how to beat him, right? Like slow down the pace, avoid the ground, outpoint him. Don't try to knock him out, because if you try to knock him out or just try to go wild, he'll kind of take you down with a opportunistic duck under and try to submit you. Dalby, I want to say I trust him to do that, like stay on the outside. Like he's got the long kicks and he's very good at that kind of point style, but his chin can really be a liability. I don't trust him just because when I picked him to beat what's his face, Jesse Ronson, and then Jesse Ronson just cracks him and then submits him. I'm like I know Jesse Ronson was on some stuff, but still, like, damn it, Dalby, what the fuck? So I'm gonna go with Dalby. I think he's gonna implement that same style, like the same style that he used against Daniel Rodriguez on Claudio Silva. I just think Silva, unless he's on something, he's not gonna win this one. I think for sure Dalby's fight to lose. I got Dalby by decision. As long as he doesn't do anything dumb, doesn't Bandera himself, he should win this one. Just stay on the outside, pick him apart. For that price tag, though, like I probably will add him to a parlay. I just I'm prepared to lose the amount of money that I'm going to put into it. Is all I say. All I'll say. But I'll go with Dalby by decision.
Yeah, I mean, looking at his record, sure, he did beat Leon. I should say Silva. He did beat Leon Edwards way back when. But as of late, he's losing to Court McGee. That should be like you should be embarrassed enough to never step foot in an MMA gym ever again. Same thing with James Krause. This guy is not, at he. Well, aside from being 39 years old, I don't think he's ever been, at the level where we're gonna ever consider him a contender. Yeah, dude, losing to Court McGee in my eyes has, fade this guy, day and night. Nicholas Dalby, sort of on the same train. He is very, the word escapes me at the moment. Unreliable. Even something simple as that. I don't know how that escaped me. But he's more reliable than Claudio Silva at this point because he hasn't lost to Court McGee, at least looking at his record. He lost to Tim Means, which is respectable. Losing to the Dirty Bird is nothing to be ashamed of. He's one crazy mofo. So yeah, this is once again Nicholas Dalby's fight to lose. And yeah, man, I don't know about any. Yeah, Danish Dynamite. That's always been fucking weird to me. So if anything, yeah, if you wanna.
Wait a minute. I didn't realize he changed his fucking nickname again.
Yeah,
It used to
Danish
be
Dynamite.
Locomotivo, and before that it was something else. Danish Dynamite, huh? That sounds like a delicious pastry.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like delicious going in one end and explosive going out the other. It's just what you need, on a lazy Sunday. But yeah, this would be crazy. If you really want to make the prelims interesting, then fucking parlay Dalby and Jones and see how it fucking goes. You really sweat bullets, and it'll make it a lot more exciting, I think.
So you got Dalby by decision as well, or?
Yeah, I'm going with Dalby by decision.
No, let's move on. Next fight. Oh, banger. We've got Mandy Baum versus Victoria Leonardo. And currently the odds have it in, and I'm terrified to see what these odds are going to be. Where are they at? They're not terrible. It's a minus 160 for Baum. Comeback on Leonardo is a plus 130. This one, I didn't tape very much. All I really need to know about these two is that Baum is a striker and Leonardo is a grappler, purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and she's had a really rough time. Leonardo has. She fought Melissa Gatto and Anon Firo. So it's like, damn, that's some shit right there. That's a really tough schedule, especially coming in from the Contender Series where she fought Chelsea Hackett, who was like mainly a kickboxer, no real grappling, and Leonardo was just able to take her down and kind of beat the shit out of her. For Baum, on the other hand, she came in from Bellator. She was undefeated. She fought Lipski, who I'm not too high on Lipski. I think there's ways to fight Lipski and beat Lipski, but Mandy Baum chose not to do that. So this one's really tough. Honestly, like Baum being a favorite. I mean, she's not like a ridiculous favorite. She's not like a 2-1, but still, it's like, can you trust her not to get taken down repeatedly by Leonardo, who, although, I don't want to say, oh, she doesn't suck because she didn't fight. She fought really tough competition in Gatto and Fiorot. We don't know that. Like, she got finished both times. If she would have like made it to the decision with Fiorot, I'd be like, oh, she went to a decision with Fiorot. That's more important to me than getting decision by Lipski. So it's like a 50-50 for me. Do I feel confident in saying dog or pass? Hell no. I do think Mandy Baum possesses a little bit extra to me. Like, her striking is not too bad. It's just that she didn't really let her hands go with Lipski. So I don't know how she's going to come into this fight. But frankly, I'm going to go with Leonardo. Like, I feel dirty saying that. I'm going to go with Leonardo with a fuck, maybe a really sloppy, dirty decision, because I think if anything, Baum might be hurting Leonardo on the feet, but she's shown some relatively decent toughness, and then she'll clinch up, try to take it to the ground, and edge out the rest of the fight there. Like, I don't want to say this because it doesn't always happen, but usually with like lower level ladies, the triple L's, lower level ladies, they end up on their back, they can't get back up, and the more skilled fighter overall ends up losing. Like, I've seen it time and time again, just like they can't get back up. So I think that might happen here. So I'll go with Leonardo by decision. Don't even worry about betting this fight at all. But yeah, I don't know if I told you, Jose. I've been working on this. Like, I'll probably just behind the scenes shit. I wanted to make a video where like I go to the casino and I'm picking shit strategically, because I'm always at the casino betting on those little fucking kiosks. And then it always seems to me like when I'm out of the casino, like I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this person inside the distance and this and that. And I think this person wins via this prop. And then I come out and it's nothing but like fucking women's MMA props. Just like everything's inside the distance. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? How did this happen? I feel like that might happen if I go to the casino again. And I'm like, oh, don't bet Veronica Leonardo. And I'm like, how come I have Veronica Leonardo in every single parlay? Like, how did that fucking happen? But yeah, avoid this fight completely.
It's like it's what do you call that? It's like an impulse buy. It's like when they put all those goddamn chocolate bars at checkout, and you're
Yeah,
like,
it's like
you're like,
my,
maybe I'll take one Butterfinger, but then when you get home, you're like, how the fuck did I end up with one of everything? But then that one of everything, they're shaped like dildos because you end up fucking yourself pretty much.
yep.
Especially when, especially, you know, uh, first thing you have to take into account, this is women's MMA. Not only is this women's MMA, this is like bottom of the diarrhea barrel women's MMA. This is not a fight you want to bet on. I mean, if you want to live on the edge, by all means. To me, this is crazy. I don't understand how or why Mandy Bohm is a favorite. I mean, I guess to logic.
She trains with Connor at SBG.
Well, I mean, logic. I mean, betting wise, I guess there has to be a favorite. Except when those it's like -110, -110. I think that's what this should be. But the odds alone just dictate you have to go with Victoria. Um, her her last fight, her last time out was almost a year ago. Yeah, she's been out for almost a year. She got her arm broken, so there's that to take into consideration where it's like when athletes break a certain body part, they're very reluctant at their first time out. Right, but I'm guessing she's been training, so she should feel comfortable, and I don't think Mandy Bohm is going to attempt any submissions or have a Krokop left high kick that Melissa Gatto has to block and re-break her arm or whatever. So I'm going with Victoria Leonardo by decision. But I'll take her by submission. I'll take her by maybe rear naked choke or guillotine in the second round. Yeah, Mandy. I mean, either way you go, even if you do win here, even if you do pick correctly, and let's say if you do manage to get a prop, it's still a losing proposition over the long run, because you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I guess this one, maybe I can guess another or predict another women, low level women's MMA fight. I mean, you're gonna get lucky every now and again, but then when it's just really a losing proposition over the long term, unless there's like a clear, a very clear mismatch, which there really isn't here because they're both very low. They're very ladies on the low level. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Next bout at lightweight, Jai Herbert versus Kyle Nelson. And interesting about this fight, after I read the odds currently have it in favor of Herbert, floating around minus 275. Come back on Nelson is a plus 225. Off the bat, you can just say, is it worth a shot taking Nelson? Absolutely, I think so, because you kind of know with Jai Herbert. Like I like Jai Herbert a lot. Like I love his style. I think he's had it really rough in the UFC, and I don't think he's really displayed his full skill set. We saw glimpses of it in his last fight, but it just did not work out for him. He has not had a good time as of late in fighting at home. Kyle Nelson, on the other hand, like here's what I found interesting about these two guys. Well, Kyle Nelson's moving up from featherweight up to lightweight again, and I noticed that they have identical records in the UFC. And by identical, I mean absolutely fucking identical, minus the fighters. So Kyle Nelson's 4 fights in the UFC. TKO loss to Diego Ferreira. He got submitted by Matt Sales. He knocks out somebody in Polo Reyes, and then he gets knocked out by Billy Q. Jai Herbert, 4 fights in the UFC, knocked out in his first fight, submitted in his second fight, knocks out somebody in his third fight, and then gets knocked out in his fourth fight. So literally identical records between these two. For me, like, I love Jai Herbert. Like, lose or not, like the way he fought against Topuria, like some might say that it made Topuria look bad because he kind of got dropped by Jai Herbert. I think it made Topuria and Jai Herbert both look good. I think Jai Herbert looked fantastic, but he fought Ilia Topuria, a guy who I'm really high on. I'm high on both of these guys. But the thing is, Jai Herbert's chin is 100% a liability. Like, I don't know how bad it is, really. Like, he's been getting blasted by some really heavy punchers. So it could just be that, like, those punches could have knocked anybody out, or his chin is just incredibly fragile after the fight with Trinaldo, after he kind of got put on Bambi legs. And I think that's what got, what's his name, Dan Hardy fired for bitching about, I guess, stopping the fight with Herb Dean. So I'm not too sure. Like, for me, Herbert's defense is probably my biggest concern with him, because Kyle Nelson, he hits fucking hard as well. And if anything, Nelson might try to grapple a bit more and use his ground and pound, because the movement of Jai Herbert, his length and his reach is going to be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a problem him implementing it here against Kyle Nelson. I think he does live up to his price tag, and I think he knocks out Nelson in the first round. He's just so goddamn rangy. He's 77-inch reach compared to the 71-inch reach. And I know the last time Herbert fought a featherweight, it didn't go well for him, but I think he's going to learn from those mistakes, because, like, if you look at that knockout, right, like Topuria pushes him back, and he kind of allowed it. He kind of accepted that, like, I need to move back. He kind of got caught up against the cage. The left body shot to the liver, and then the overhand right just fucking slept him. So I think if he keeps his movement, he doesn't kind of blow his wad. It could have been like the jitters of fighting in that arena, and I can't remember where he fought, if it was the O2 or whatever. But he's going to have to control his emotions, and I think he gets Kyle Nelson out of there in the first round.
One thing, sorry, actually, I have to mention one thing about the Mandy Bohm Victoria Leonardo fight before we get started, or before I get started on this. You did mention that she, or it was something along the lines of, I don't understand why Mandy Bohm is the favorite. And you said, oh, she trains with Connor at SBG Ireland.
Yeah.
One thing I thought about, but I didn't say was, yes, she trains with Connor, but she trains with money Connor. She doesn't she doesn't train with food stamps Connor. That was hungry, and
that was more of a joke, because we all know she ain't fucking anywhere near Connor.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Connor's like in it. Like I don't even know if Connor's still in SBG, like training there. But like if
I don't
anything,
think so.
Connor's got his own like suite, and she's like in the fucking janitor closet, just shadow boxing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I remember for Connor's fight against Cowboy, he was training, like he got all, some supposed elite trainers, and he was training in Portugal at some like mansion or something. And I was like, yeah, I don't think he trains with those guys. For sure, he doesn't train with the goat, Lobov for sure. So I don't know, maybe Mandy's training with Lobov and she's kicking up her training. But anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to mention that. Yeah. So she's not. Well, yeah. Well, to add on to that, yeah, I think she'd have a better chance of training with Khabib at this point. At AKA.
Khabib doesn't train with ladies too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Her chances of probably have a better chance at that at this point. And so, sorry, where the fuck was that? Where are we? Oh yes, Jai Herbert, Kyle Nelson. Yeah, this is crazy, man. I mean, you hit it right on the nose. These guys not only have similar records in the UFC, they have similar outings in the UFC. They lost 2-1-1, and they both have one loss on their last fight, which is crazy. That all things being equal, Jai Herbert, I think he's lost to the better competition, for sure. Elia Topuria, Renato Moicano, even Francisco Trinaldo. I don't know what it is about that guy, man. That guy's a freaking beast. He's he always comes out like he has bills to pay, and he's like, or he's like,
oh shit! I just figured it out.
A couple months behind on bills, and he's like, fuck this shit.
He fights like Tyron Woodley should fight because of all the child support.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So all those things. Yes, they have similar records, but Jai Herbert has fought the better competition. So he's lost to the better competition, and not only that, but he beat Kama Worthy, which.
Actually, I think they both beat Kama Worthy, if I recall. I think Nelson knocked out Worthy years ago, which I thought was interesting. Like, glad you brought it up too.
Oh, he did. He did. Yeah. I didn't go down further. I didn't go down far enough. Oh, yeah. Which I guess 5 years. That's not too long ago, so it's not too bad. But as far as the UFC is concerned, yeah, Billy Q, not really too high on that guy anymore, because he shit the bed more than once. Diego Ferreira, it's like, okay. Matt Sales.
Yeah, Matt Sales is.
Yeah, I mean, based off, this one is a very, this one's a very, it's kind of like a very, this is like the men's equivalent of a low-level fight, for women. And yes, I'm going with Jai Herbert, but this is not really anything you want to bet on with any significant amount of money, nor do you want to include it as a parlay piece in anything that you'd like to win. Or any parlay that you have that you want to have any chance of winning. So be very careful with this one. Go light if you are. I mean, if the degenerate in you is like, oh man, I got, if like you say, like when you're at the kiosk or when you're at the teller or whatever, or even online, you're like, oh man, I have to bet on this fight. I have to, be very careful. Go light. Go very light.
So you got Herbert by
decision.
Yeah. Decision. All right. Next bout, interesting bout. We've got Muhammad Mokaev versus Charles Johnson, and well, part of me is like, shit, should I explain the fucking joke? Because that's not Mokaev, obviously. Fuck it. It's one of the Jonas brothers from the show Kingdom. I'm like, this motherfucker looks just like him. And in the show Kingdom, Nick Jonas, I believe, he plays an MMA fighter. I think he's a lightweight, and he's gay. So that's all I really. That's just the joke. That's the joke. Anyways, Charles Johnson taking this fight against Mokaev. So I had the hardest time, if I'm being full disclosure, like Charles Johnson, did he go to the fucking Olympics? I remember doing research on him like some time ago, and I'm like, Charles Johnson Olympics, because I know of him MMA. When it comes to MMA, he's a pretty decent boxer. He does remind me of a like dude's pretty fucking big. He's like 5'9", but he's fighting at flyweight. But he reminds me of a flyweight Bobby Green, like the way his swagger and stuff, like kicks up the middle. Like I mean, identical. Like sometimes you fucking squint your eyes. I'm like, oh shit, Bobby Green's fighting a small Brazilian dude. But the odds are fascinating because currently they have it in favor of who Mokaev. He is floating around at fuck man. He's as high as like minus 520, and in the comeback, depending on where you go, you can get Charles Johnson at plus 370. And I find this one fascinating because Johnson and Mokaev have been kind of talking shit on Twitter and shit. Like Mokaev posted a picture of himself with like an AK, kind of talking shit to Johnson. Johnson's like kind of took offense to that, like, hey man, I'm from the streets, blah blah blah. And then Mokaev's like, I'm from Dagestan and from whatever, the streets of fucking Manchester. It kind of devolved into a bunch of bullshit. But when it comes down to it, do I believe Charles Johnson has a chance? Absolutely. I think his striking's very good. He has been training his wrestling with Jordan Burroughs. Obviously, Jordan Burroughs is a fucking high level Olympic caliber wrestler. As to will that help him in an actual MMA fight against Mokaev, who the hell knows? Because you can train with whoever the fuck you want to train with. It doesn't give you their strength and their power and their takedown ability and their takedown defense. And it just comes down to, like, if you believe Mokaev is the real deal, 6-0 professional fighting. His last fight, again, he made it look too fucking easy against Cody Durden, where it didn't seem as if like he beat Cody Durden. It looked more like Cody Durden beat himself. And to me, I still have my questions on Mokaev. Do I think he's got a possibility to be a great UFC fighter, possibly even championship material? Absolutely, but it's still not clear to me yet. Like, he's undefeated amateurs, of course, and in the professional leagues, but I just don't see the complete package yet. Like, yeah, he makes things look a little too easy sometimes by dominating lower level competition, but how good is his striking defense when it comes to like a good boxer with a guy who has pretty good pressure in Charles Johnson? When it comes to Charles Johnson, I'm not saying like I'm hyping him up to suck his dick or nothing, but he does kind of he can be a bit too low output, which bothers me. The thing is, will he come in here emotional, trying to knock out Mokaev? Mokaev takes him down, fucks him up on the ground, or submits him, possibly. There's too many questions on this one for me to feel confident in betting one side or the other. I'm taking a shot on Johnson when it comes to like just betting him straight. I might put a couple, like maybe a unit on him just to see what happens. Not feeling uber confident. Like, I'm not telling you he's going to come here and knock out Mokaev, because you're in that position where it's like, is he going to destroy Charles Johnson? And then it's like, ah, shit, like what I want to see from Mokaev is him go 3 rounds, show his cardio, show his striking defense, and dominate, similar to like Khabib, right? That's what I want to see. I don't want to see him choking out dudes real quick, because when it comes down to that, you'll get a Herbert Burns type of thing. Like, damn, Herbert Burns is so good, he's going to submit everybody real fast, and then he gasses out, or as we saw yesterday, he, as PayPal My Money puts it, he submitted himself going for the triangle, and Bill Algeo just wrecked him. Like, will that happen here? Will Charles Johnson's submission defense and his cardio be the deciding factor in this fight? And if Charles Johnson lets his hands go, he's gonna fucking hurt Mokaev real bad. Like, he's got 10 years of experience on him, right? Just being older than the guy, much more experience when it comes to the overall fight game. Like, more than half of his record. He's got 13 fights compared to the 6 of Mokaev. So it's like, I'm not confident enough in either guy, because if I were to tell you I'm taking Mokaev, it's mostly because of the hype. Like, right, I'm going to pick him to win because he should win, right? The hype indicates that, the line indicates that. I just get a sneaky, cheeky feeling that Charles Johnson's going to really shock a lot of people. Like, where either Charles Johnson's going to show how good he is, because I think he is very good. I think he deserves to be in the UFC, right? Absolutely. I think he can win a lot of fights, and I just think he's good enough. But we'll see how good Mokaev is. I'm going to take a shot. I'm risking it on Johnson. I'm going to say Johnson wins this one by a first round knockout. I think if Johnson comes out here correct and starts finding uppercuts and landing that long jab and keeps to the body, I think he can really hurt Mokaev, and we might see that like chink in the armor from Mokaev where he's like, holy shit, this isn't supposed to happen. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not confident either way in this prediction. It's just I don't feel comfortable with it, but I'll go with Charles Johnson for a long shot. Like, I'm not doubting Mokaev. I absolutely believe he can come out here and just fucking wreck Charles Johnson. But since I'm putting money on Johnson, I'll take dog or pass in this one. So I'll go with Johnson by a first round knockout.
Yeah, I was going to say, be careful with that chink in the armor, quote. But since this is England, I think they're not going to have any issue with it. This is the way I look at this. Mokaev is coming in as the hometown favorite. So he's going to have a crowd behind him. I guess to a certain extent, if not totally. Johnson. So Mokaev is going to come in. I don't think he's going to be reckless. So as you put it, yes, Johnson does have the striking advantage, as well as these, mainly because he's, like you said, he's been doing it longer. And so I think it's first round or bust for him. And by that, I mean, Johnson has the first round probably to, do one of those either Brunson barrages or just beat the shit out of Mokaev.
Dude,
Because if it
I have to
does,
cut you off real quick. I just completely fucking forgot, like, because he's from St. Louis, right? And then Buckley is also from St. Louis. And then what this reminded me of, like the parallels of what like you expect to happen with Buckley and Duraev, and then Buckley just fucking wrecks Duraev. Like he's like, you're not taking me down. You know what the deciding factor in that was, in my opinion, was that Buckley trained at that Detroit Urban Survival Tactics with that one dude. Like Charles Johnson also went there. So it's like, is this going to be another one of those Buckley versus Duraev where you're like, holy shit, Buckley, what the fuck? He fucking wrecked him.
Well,
I'm feeling that.
Well, I would say the difference here is that Charles Johnson doesn't have Woodley's wrestling credentials. So yeah, he doesn't have his. And
said Woodley or Buckley?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say? But what am I thinking? Wood. I was thinking
he's
Woodley.
Also he's from also Missouri, but Ferguson, technically St. Louis. Yeah.
And I don't. And I'm not trying to say that they all look alike to me either. And I know that's what you fuckers are thinking. Yeah. Wait. Were you talking about Buckley this whole time? And I was thinking Woodley.
Buckley. Well, to be fair, I've always said that that Buckley fights like the anti-Woodley. So to be fair, you could have gotten confused there.
Okay, yeah, that's where my mind was, because I was thinking of really where my mind was takedown defense. And so I think Charles Johnson, going back to my train of thought, is that Charles Johnson has that first round to, I think he has the advantage in the first round. If it goes past that, Mokaev is going to take over, and he's going to, just dry hump him for the next 2 rounds. So it's going to be a very interesting first round to me. And if it goes past that, you might as well just change the channel or, catch up on any telenovelas because the next 10 minutes are going to be pretty fucking boring. But so I think I think this is probably one of those where it's this one's pretty difficult for me, just because it's if what was it is or if if it's under 1.5, then it's just a tricky fight for me. I'm going with Mokaev by decision, but yes, there is a chance that Charles just lights him up in that first round. Or if he lights him up in that first round, it's very possible Mokaev just may not recover in the second round, and he might, get a TKO or something in the second round. He might batter him and deep fry him, and he's basically tempura in the second round. So I'm going with Mokaev, but yeah, this is a very tricky one. I mean, there is the whole, yes, this is taking place in London sort of thing. So if it does go to decision, the judging, it's like we might want to be a little careful there, because the judges are like, oh yeah, we didn't see any of those strikes, or those strikes didn't count, sort of thing.
I forgot about that. Like, it's shit you think about, and then you're like, oh yeah, they're fighting in hometown territory, so be careful with that. Like, I remember saying it last time where what's her face, Meatball McCann. I kept telling people she's not losing in this arena, and then for fucking sure as fuck, she didn't lose in that arena.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, she made goddamn sure she didn't lose in that arena.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that.
God damn.
I mean, there's that. Mokaev has all that on his, behind him. So yeah, so it's hard not to go with Mokaev, but yeah, there is still a chance that Johnson catches him. But more than anything, I think if it does go to decision, I think Mokaev will get it one way or another. I'm pretty sure the judging will make sure of that.
Right, moving on, at featherweight, we've got McCann Amirkhani versus Jonathan Pearce, and the odds currently have it in favor of Pearce, who's roughly around a minus 230. Comeback on McCann is a plus 190. Let me let you guys in on a little secret not many people know about, that like, if you kind of consistently bet this line, you might end up making some good money. But if you were to take McCann by submission, it actually would be very beneficial for you, just FYI. And I say that because it's fucking obvious, right? That's what McCann wants to do. He wants to submit you with that Darce Anaconda, whatever he can get his fucking hands on you. Dude, like, I know this is like I joke around a lot. Like, I always fucking talk shit on a fighter for losing, but at the end of the day, I chose the bet. It's not up to me to fight for the fucking fighter or tell them what to do or how to feel. But I bet a good amount of money on Mike Grundy to win, and I'm like, everything's in his favor. He's fighting at home. Like, he looks like the better conditioned fighter. As long as he doesn't do anything stupid, he should win this fight. And unfortunately, Grundy did something stupid. He did exactly what McCann needed him to do, and McCann capitalized, right? He got the Anaconda choke, submitted him, and anyone who took McCann by submission, it's like props on them, right? Like, it's always a live prop, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to submit you, or he wants to grind you out. Usually he submits you first, and if he can't do that, he'll try to grind you out. Jonathan Pearce, he should have better cardio, right? He should, but he didn't show it against Christian Rodriguez, a guy who I think he's like a bantamweight. And frankly, Christian Rodriguez, in that loss, he looks fantastic. Like, Jonathan Pearce had to fucking crotch him down, like hold him fucking down, sniff his crotch for the entire fight. So I'm always concerned with Jonathan Pearce. Like, I don't consider him to be a very intelligent fighter. Like, he can win using intelligent tactics, but I think he makes boneheaded decisions. I think both of them do. It's a really, like, fuck, you can't trust either guy. Frankly, though, if Jonathan Pearce shows up, his cardio is on point. I think he grinds out McCann. As long as McCann doesn't get him in a submission opportunistic choke, I think Jonathan Pearce can definitely use his height, I don't want to say his reach. He's got a half-inch reach disadvantage, but just his overall, I guess, meanness and his ability to, like, implement his body weight, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, holding him up against the cage, getting him tired. McCann's notoriously a fucking horrible gasser. And if you give him that opportunity with the neck, he'll snatch it up. I mean, he's got some power too. And Jonathan Pearce, I think he's just way too damn tough to get knocked out. Jonathan Pearce got caught in a couple submissions with Rodriguez, and he toughed them out. But I just don't know if he gets caught with Amirkhani, if he's going to be able to get out of it. Amirkhani is a fucking specialist when it comes to the choke. If he gets it locked in, like, fucking Mike Grundy barely has a neck, and he was able to submit Mike Grundy. And I mean, put him out cold in front of his dying father, which is like, damn, that's cold, McCann. It's really one of these fights, like, I know I'm going to take a hit. Like, if I take McCann, it's guaranteed that Jonathan Pearce is going to win. If I take Jonathan Pearce, Makwan's going to submit him. I'm going to go with Pearce, just not because of the odds. I just do think logically, if he comes in here smart, he uses his long range tactics, like his strikes, his kicks up the middle, he gasses out Makwan. I mean, they're both pretty decent grapplers. I think Makwan better than Jonathan Pearce, but Pearce has the cardio advantage, so it kind of might negate itself in the long run, where the first round might be a bit of dominance from Makwan, as it always is, and then he slows down. Jonathan Pearce takes over. It's going to be a really close fight if it does end up being like a dog fight between these two, and it's really 50-50 for me. I might take a shot on Makwan by submission, like nothing too big, just something small, but like fight ready MMA should mean something, right? It should fucking mean that you're ready to fight Jonathan Pearce. So I'm going to take a shot on Pearce to win this one by a decision. Potentially get a late round knockout, maybe kind of live bet this one, but I'll go with Jonathan Pearce. But hell no, I'm not confident in this one at all.
Yeah, man, Makwan. Every time I think of Mike Grundy, I think of Grundy from the DC comics.
Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy, yes. I think he's just as dumb as Grundy. There's that rhyme, but anyway. Here, dude. I'm going with Jonathan Pearce, just because it's Makwan. He has, it's funny when his picture, his avatar, his default picture, whatever. When you click on his actual profile, it's him with all these finished blondes. And I just think it's he. I think this is where Colby Covington got the idea from. In all his commercials and stuff that he does now. He's like, "Hey, nerds," and then he's with all these chicks in bikinis. But anyway, onto his record. Yes, he beat Mike Grundy, but he's before that he was on a losing streak, dating back about 2 years. He lost to Leron Murphy, Kamala Kirk. He lost to Barboza. He beat Danny Henry, but then he lost to Shane Burgos somehow. And
Shane Burgos fucked him up in New York.
Yeah,
he doesn't lose in New York.
Yeah, he's been he's been around the block. But I don't really think he's UFC caliber. I think maybe he's Bellator, main card material, if anything.
I think I'll put it to you this way: he'll be a millionaire in PFL.
Oh yeah, maybe. I mean, but we've seen what happened to what's his name, Anthony Pettis and company.
God. You guys want to know how fucking stupid I am? I bet Anthony Pettis, and then he submits himself. I'm like, I should have known better. Like, it's not even on Pettis now. It's like, Johnny, we need to talk.
Yeah. I mean, this one's another one to be careful on. This is not really. At least me personally, I don't see like a huge mismatch, but I do see a mismatch in that Jonathan Pearce is going to beat the shit out of Makwan. So I'm going with Jonathan Pearce by decision. I think he's going to have. I don't think he's going to let himself get taken down, or even if he does get taken down, I'm not going to. I don't think he's going to stay down. And actually, when you're talking about his anaconda choke by Mike Grundy, what kept going through my mind was those lyrics. My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hon. When they do that highlight or whatever, which is stupid, but
that probably, like, say 3 years ago, Makwan's fucking choking everyone out. I guarantee you the UFC would have used that as a fucking hype package for Makwan versus Conor McGregor at the at the O2. Different universe, but let's just move on. What time do you have to leave, by the way?
When we're done. So no worries. Cool. We got plenty done. We got plenty of time.
All right, next bout. Bantamweight, Nathaniel Wood versus Charles Rosa. 0 tape watch on this one, boys. Nathaniel Wood's going to win this one. He's not losing in London. He's not fucking losing this fight. He's not losing this fucking fight. Period. Like the cards are already 27. Nathaniel Wood. They might have a backup just in case fucking Nathaniel Wood slips and Charles Rosa grinds out the round. But no, Nathaniel Wood's winning this one. I think he's more than ready. I know he had a disappointing weight cut the last time that they fought in the O2, where he was going to be the hometown boy, like they're going to cheer him, and then his guy pulls out, and then Victor Morales, I believe, was going to take the place of whoever the fuck he was going to fight. I forgot, and then that fell off. So I felt bad for Nathaniel, mainly because I had him on a shit ton of parlays. I'm like, God damn it, Nathaniel. But he looked really good. I know there was a lot of talks about his physique. You know, he was very veiny, but he's like, yeah, man, I got out of the sauna. There's the right lighting. It kind of seems as if like this motherfucker's primed to get knocked out, right? He's just cutting too much weight, but I trust the guy. He's very lean. I said it last time. I thought he beat Casey Kenny. I don't know how he lost that fight. I thought he did enough to win. I think he's just going to be the overall better fighter. Charles Rosa, he's got his good attributes, right? He can take you down, and if he can hold you down, he's going to win the fight. But dear God, is he the master of not getting submitted by the arm triangle? Like, period. Like, the fucker's just like, I'm going to give up arm triangle and not get submitted. But that's literally his game. If Nathaniel Wood could be the first guy to submit him via arm triangle, I'd be surprised. I'd be like, wow, it's a huge accomplishment. But overall, I'm picking Nathaniel Wood. But I didn't even read the odds. Wow. He's going to be a parlay piece, by the way. Nathaniel Wood, fuck. Minus 450 comeback on Rosa is a plus 360. I think bearing some sort of horrible accident, Nathaniel Wood should easily win this fight. He's got the devastating low kicks. He's got long, rangy striking. He's super athletic. Charles Rosa, he's not incredibly athletic. I know he throws a lot of like karate kicks, like side kicks and shit. It's just not. It seems as if something a guy who doesn't know how to fight would throw. And I'm not saying that Charles Rosa doesn't know how to fight. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it just seems like a tactic. Like, I'm going to throw this so people think I know how to fight kind of moves, opposed to like, learning how to properly box and whatever. But I go with Nathaniel Wood by a decision. I don't think he finishes Charles Rosa. Charles Rosa's tough as shit. You got to give Charles Rosa his props. Like, he comes to fight. He doesn't give up. He's Boston strong for a reason. But I think Nathaniel Wood fighting in the O2, he's not losing this fight. I mean, he could literally be punching air for 15 minutes and he'll get 10-8. So I'll go with Nathaniel Wood by decision.
Well, I always think of him as Charles Hosa.
Charles Hosa.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Charles can boast about that I don't think most other people can boast about in MMA is how many people can say that they went toe-to-toe in grappling with Julio Cesar Chavez. And not the legendary Mexican boxer Julio Cesar Chavez. I'm guessing this is a Julio Cesar Chavez with an S. So, yeah, Titan FC. That's crazy, man.
He's probably Brazilian.
So pretty big, yeah. It's pretty big thing on your resume still, too. If he boasted me, like, yeah, I went toe to toe with Julio Cesar Chavez, and he's gonna be like, oh, all right, oh.
Yeah, tell the grandkids that.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as this, yeah, I think Nathaniel Wood has it in the. Well, I was gonna say, they got two judges' scorecards. They have the 30-27 Nathaniel Wood, but then they have the split decision cards.
Just in case.
Just in case Charles Rosa dominates, then they're gonna be like, oh no, we're gonna give it to Nathaniel Wood by split decision. So they're like, they have two ready to go.
Yeah.
In either case, but. Yeah, dude, Nathaniel Wood is not losing this one. I don't believe so. I mean, to me, it's still a very close fight because it's Great Britain top team going up against the American top team. So it's kind of like there's that. I don't know if that's a rivalry or not, but I think that's very interesting.
Oh my God, are you gonna say there's gonna be a revolution in the O2?
I don't think they'll allow it. Not the judges. So yes, I think Nathaniel Wood is probably going to take this one by decision. Yeah, don't really have much more to add than that. It's this is going to be an interesting one, and I think Charles himself, he's got a very lengthy tenure in the UFC. and he's alternated. He for the most part he's alternated wins and losses. But his last few wins have been, against very low level guys. At least in the last few years, let's say in the last even 3 years, Manny Bermudez, Kevin Aguilar, and Justin James. Not really top of the food chain there. So doesn't really inspire you to say, oh yeah, this guy's gonna come out guns blazing and he's gonna. Yeah, no,
Since you have it there, did he submit Manny Bermudez? I think he got him with an armbar, right?
yeah, he got him with an armbar.
Yeah,
Round
fucking
one.
Manny. I had high hopes for Manny, the Bermudez triangle, and then this fucker just kind of let me down.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. What I noticed, well, I mean, I don't know about their personal lives, and that's really the X factor with a lot of these guys, is that they get a little bit of notoriety, and then they think they're fucking Conor McGregor or some shit, and it's like when you go to the supermarket, nobody gives a shit if you're short a few cents, you're not getting that eggplant, man. So, yeah, I don't know what it is with a lot of these guys, but. Yeah, so Nathaniel Wood's going to take this one. And yeah, I mean, either by decision or by split decision, either, depending on which of the scorecards that they use.
Next bout at lightweight, we've got for the prelim main event, Mark Diakaese versus Damir Hadzovic. And I'm looking for the odds right now because I don't have really much to say about this one. But yeah, Diakase's minus 300 comeback on Hadzovic is a plus 240. For this one, I think it's pretty fucking easy. Bearing some sort of accident or just people or the gods just hate Mark Diakaese, he's not losing this one either. He's not fucking losing to Damir Hadzovic. Mark Diakaese, like, he's a guy that he's the fucking bone crusher, right? He hits incredibly hard. He can knock anyone out. He kicks incredibly hard. He went toe to toe with Fiziev, and he took a round from Fiziev. And I think he's always been good, but he's just never been like a good fighter. You know what I mean? Like he's a good athlete. He can strike. He can obviously now wrestle, but he's never been a good fighter in the sense that he doesn't have great game plans. Like he comes in there and he doesn't really know what to do sometimes. He doesn't have a game plan to follow, but he goes out to fight, which is like, dude, you have to know how to adjust midway. And I think he's finally getting there. Like him fucking grapple fucking uh Vyacheslav was like, all right. Like I had money on Borsha because I'm like, hey, Mark Diakaese kind of goes out there and he doesn't have a game plan. He fucking had a game plan. I was like, a little, when you're upset that your bet doesn't win, but you're also kind of like proud of the guy for fucking accomplishing something. Very much so, like Matt Schnell yesterday. Like I keep saying it, Matt Schnell's a good fighter, but his fucking chin is a liability. This fucker gets knocked out 5, 6, 7 times on his feet, and then he finally just snapped. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm gonna take him down and fuck him up. And I was like, although I lost money because I bet Sue, right? I had Sue in a couple parlays that would have definitely cashed had the the fucking ref just been like, that's enough. You've knocked him out too many times. It was still like, damn, I'm proud of Matt Schnell. Like, fuck the money. Like that was incredibly impressive. Like that's more important to me. Like a fighter not losing his fucking job, a fighter that you like. It sucks that I fucking lost, but it's like good for him. Good for Matt Schnell. Hence Schnell do Bronx because I think he's gonna come back. He's gonna wreck the fucking division, and eventually, he's gonna wake up and be like, "Oh, what happened? It was all a dream." But for this guy, Mark Diakaese, I think right now this is a fight he can't lose. I just don't think statistically, logically, he should be able to lose this one. He would really have to Van Dare himself really fucking bad for him to lose this one. He's got the better wrestling. He's a better, maybe not the better overall striker, right? I think Damir has better boxing, but Diakaese hits incredibly hard. Like he can keep it on the feet if he wants to, and if he gets in danger, go for the takedown and submit him. I think he can. It's really Diakase's fight to lose. If he fucking bet against himself, that's all you really have to worry about. But I doubt he bet against himself in England. I got Diakaese. I'm going to trust him to be smart. I'm going to say second round submission. I think he's going to be very intelligent this fight. I think he's gonna, well, fuck, if he's fighting in his home crowd, and he wants a knockout. That's what I'm worried about. Like, he's going to say, fuck it, I'm going for it. And he can very well get it. But if he's going to fight incredibly smart, I think he gets a submission in the second round. That would show me that Diakaese's done dicking around and he's here to play. So I'll go with Diakaese second round sub.
I'm actually going with, I think he's going to crush some bones in this fight. So I'm actually going to take Diakaese by second round TKO. I think they're going to go toe to toe, but I think Diakaese is just going to overpower the Bosnian Herzegovina. Herzegovina. Yeah, he's from Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Well, he's the Bosnian bomber. So I don't know
Yeah.
if Herzegovina.
And Herzegovina. But he's fighting out of Denmark, so he could very well be training with what's his name? The
Danish Dynamite.
Yeah, Danish Dynamite. So that would be pretty funny if they, if they are buddies. But yeah, no, I think Mark Diakaese, he's giving me, if he comes out with the blonde mohawk or faux hawk, he's, I think he's trying to, give off some what was it, blonde bomber vibes.
Blonde Brunson.
Blonde Brunson vibes. And that would be pretty cool. If he, shows us a lightweight Brunson barrage. That'd be pretty dope. But again, he's English. He's not going to lose. This is in London. It's going to be crazy. And it's crazy that he trains at American top team. It's kind of wild. Should be training at British top team.
No. We want him to win.
Yeah, no, I'm saying he should be, but since he wants to win, he's training at American top team.
He's a turncoat. All right, let's move on. Main card opener, hell of a fight between. We've got Paul Craig versus Volkan Oezdemir, and currently the odds have it in favor of Oezdemir. Minus 150 comeback on Paul Craig is a plus 130.
Ooh, jump on that right now.
Yeah, I think I will. Like, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. Paul Craig, to me, I think he's going to win. I think he's went a little stupid there. He finally is putting it together, very much so like what I think Mark Diakaese is. Like, he is so fucking frustrating to bet against because I'm like, okay, I'll be honest. I have very similar thoughts about Paul Craig to what I had about Charles Oliveira. It's like, I can see how someone can beat him, right? I know how to beat this guy. I know which fighters should be able to beat this guy. There's ways to avoid going to the ground. And even if you are in the ground with him in his guard, there's ways of being safe and winning that fight and even finishing the guy. It doesn't always work out according to plan. I bet Nikita Krylov to beat Paul Craig. I picked him to win. And Nikita did exactly what Paul Craig wanted him to do. And I'm like, shit. Like, that's the thing about Paul Craig, man. Like, he can pull a Verdum where, like, oh no, I am wobbled. I am hitting the ground incredibly hard. I hope you don't follow up with punches. And then you're fucking in this triangle. His fucking guard, man. His guard is fantastic. And for a guy who named his daughter Maya after Damian Maya, I can't pick against this fucking guy anymore, especially against Volkan Oezdemir. This could be the fight, of course, where Paul Craig finally goes back to his Paul Craig ways, getting knocked out by guys you least expect him to get knocked out by. But Volkan, honestly, I just don't think he's progressed over time. I know he's 32 years old, but to me, he seems like he's been degressing since he got knocked the fuck out by Yuri. I just don't think he's been the same. Like, his fight with Magomed basically point fighted him the whole fight, kept him away, and then Volkan just looked very frustrated. And Volkan absolutely needs this win, absolutely, more so than Paul Craig, in my opinion. I think Paul Craig can bounce back, but I don't think he will. I don't think Volkan's gonna do well. I actually think Paul Craig won't submit him. I think he's gonna knock him out. I think he's gonna take him down. I think he's going to take his back and pound him out. I just don't think Volkan has the wrestling ability. I just don't think he's going to be very well prepared for Paul Craig. And if he is, I think he might get a little too overexcited trying to finish Paul Craig, and then that's where Paul Craig will capitalize. So if you were to take Paul Craig on this one, obviously you want to go with the submission prop, but I get the cheeky feeling he's going to actually TKO Volkan. Like he's going to not submit him. He's going to take his back and then just pound him out. Fuck, he might even break his arm and cause it to be a TKO. So be careful with Paul Craig, but I'll go with Paul Craig by I'll say a first round TKO. I think the fight plays out like this. Volkan lands a punch. He tries to finish. Paul Craig recovers. He sweeps him. He gets on top of him, gets them out, and then he just pounds him out. That's kind of how I go. And in that in between of those steps, he might even get a submission. Who the fuck knows? But I'll go with Paul Craig. But I'm trying to be a little bit more like against the grain. So instead of going with submission, I'm going to go with TKO round number 1.
I'm actually going with the Bear Jew in a second round submission. I think Volkan's going to try to come out and probably may well come out very aggressive in the first round. But I don't think he's going to get the job done. I think he's going to wear himself out. And then Craig is going to take advantage maybe toward the end of the second round, get it to the ground, and get a rear naked choke. Yes, he could pound him from there as well, but he's going to... Well, you know what? It's very possible he may end it in the first round as well from his back. Let's say if Volkan, wobbles him or whatever, he hits on his back, and Volkan, jumps in his guard, he may get triangled there as well. I think I wouldn't put it past him. Or if they're maybe up against a cage, Paul Craig jumps up and does a standing guillotine. Very interesting,
Yeah.
It ended quite a few ways. So.
Well, I was going to add, I completely forgot to bring it up. Like, if Volkan comes in here tentative, I think Paul Craig's going to piece him up from the outside. Like, Paul Craig's striking has gotten a lot better, a lot fucking better. So
I think he maybe prefers submissions. It's his thing. And I'd like to see it as well. But yeah, Volkan, he is his nickname though. He's out of time. I think he's heading to Bellator, or he's going to become a PFL.
He's going to fight Bruno Capoloza.
Maybe, or maybe he's going to BKFC. I haven't seen that in a while.
I haven't either. They have. I just haven't been paying attention.
But maybe that would be a good move for him since he trains with the Black Zillions, or whoever those guys are now.
That's funny. They need to update that shit on Tapology. Black Zillions have been fucking gone.
Nah, man. I think there's still some guys that didn't go over to the new group. They're like, no, man, we're still the Black Zillions, and they still train like behind the alley where their gym used to be. Yeah.
All right, so you've got Craig by, what was it again?
Submission.
All right, let's move on to, I think it's going to be a good fight between these two ladies at flyweight. We've got Molly McCann versus Hannah I'm sorry, wrong picture. Molly McCann versus Hannah Goldy taking place at flyweight. Should I even read the odds? Let's see what the odds say.
Odds are, well, I don't know if I should say it now, but
oh god, just go ahead and say it.
Yeah, odds are Molly McCann will not lose this fight.
Yep, she's a minus 350 comeback on Hannah Goldy is a plus 260, and yeah, as mentioned before, she's fighting in the O2. She's not fucking losing in the O2, especially to Hannah Goldy. And I'll just go back, as you can tell, I like Hannah Goldy. Hannah Goldy's my kind of girl. She's got it going on. She's got beautiful teeth. I will always tell you that. She's got beautiful teeth. And she's not a horrible fighter. She's not like I'm trying to think who's a really, really, really bad fighter. I don't know, but she's not terrible, right? She's got some good attributes. She's strong. She's got some good striking technique. Her grappling's not terrible. Like, she can pull off an armbar when she needs it, but she's not losing to Molly McCann. Molly McCann, for all her faults, she's a fighter. She's out there to fight. She's out there to make it dirty. She's out there to knock you out. She's out there to grind you out. She does everything adequately, right? Like, she's not ever going to be a champion. despite if I were to show you pictures of her from her last fight, you'd think, oh, when did Molly McCann win the belt? But Molly McCann's never going to be a UFC champion. But dear God, she's going to put on some good fights. Like, she's always someone you can rely on when fighting certain level of competition. And I think this level right here for 24 karat Goldy is that type of level where Hannah is just going to try her best not to get finished, is essentially that. Molly McCann is not known to finish people, despite her last knockout being fucking fabulous. It was like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck just happened here? Oh my God. Like, Luana was on the ground with her eyes open. I'm like, holy shit, that you don't see that a lot. Even though it happened to Jai Herbert in the same card, it's like, God damn, dude, what do you guys have against the anyways? But yeah, Molly McCann wins this one by decision. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets like a cheeky little not submission, but a knockout later in the rounds. Like, it all really depends on if Hannah wants to, like, if Hannah has an audience for like her pictures having black eyes on them, maybe she wants to like not quit. But if she wants to maintain her, like, you know, complexion for her pictures, she might want to take a knee early. So I'll go with Molly McCann by decision.
Yeah, same here. I mean, this is they're going to continue to push Molly as much as they can so that she's somewhat of an attraction. When they go back to the O2 arena, so they're going to. I think they're going to continue that trend here and try to keep her, fairly. What's the word? Fairly competitive, I guess. They're not going to put her up against. Wait, what division are they in? They're not. They're not going to match her up against Valentina or anything anytime soon, or ever. I think.
Yeah, no, never.
You know,
I think you're the
she's
first person to ever say anything regarding Molly McCann and Valentina. So
yeah. I mean, besides them, maybe sharing a plate of meatballs. That's as close as Molly will ever get to, Valentina's mouth. I want to say.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're making a specific type of joke based on Molly McCann, but I'll take it as such.
Yeah, it's like that. That's as close as Molly's meatballs. Or her. You know what? I think she should. For her um, long term financials, I think she should. Uh, partner with somebody and start selling Molly's meatballs. I think that'll be pretty good for her long term financially because how old is she? She is 32. Yeah, man, she's um, I guess in women's MMA, I guess yeah, she is over the hill. So at this point, she's just fighting for paychecks because yeah, she's not going anywhere near Valentina anytime soon. Um, but yeah, no, she's definitely not losing here. Again, this is O2 Arena. They want to make they want that place loud, and they're going to set Molly up, uh, to win to get the crowd primed for at least what the at least in their eyes, the main event's going to be the Patty fight. A few fights after this, but yeah, there's betting wise, I would say maybe stay away from this because it is women's MMA after all, and based off of the odds are crazy, man. This thing should be like in the minus 100s. She should not be minus. What would you say she was minus 275 or
Minus
375?
oh shit, 350.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, dude. That alone, betting wise, would make me want to take Hannah Goldy, um, but yeah, this is women's MMA. You don't want to fuck with those odds either way. It's lose lose over the long term, even if you do guess this one right. So yeah, so I'm going with Molly by decision.
All right, our next fight taking place at light heavyweight. We've got Nikita Krylov versus the returning Alexander Gustafsson. Damn, this one's like bad. Like, I don't know what to think of Gustafsson really, because Krylov's a good fighter, right? He just made a couple dumb mistakes and he fought some good competition. But Gustafsson, he's coming back, and is he coming back for a paycheck? That's like the biggest thing. Like, he came back at
Yes.
heavyweight he fought Verdum, right? And then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Gustafsson." Well, not everyone. I'm not gonna say that, but a
I
lot of
did.
people were, yeah, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Gustafsson's
I did.
gonna run through Verdum," and I'm like, "Verdum submission. Verdum gets submission. I get my money." And I was like, I felt dirty about it. I'm like, man, like, because I like Gustafsson. I've been a fan of his for a long, long time, like since he even lost to Phil Davis, and I'm like, I think this guy still has something, and then he proved it, and then Picto Graham Jones kind of ruined his life. But since then, it's just been like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know what to make of Gustafsson. Like, he's clearly training with good people, right? He's training at All Stars with, that guy, that undefeated fellow. So you think to yourself, like, if he keeps it on the feet with Krylov, like, he's got a good shot. Like, as of late, we haven't really seen Gustafsson let his hands go, other than like the fight with Anthony Smith, which ended up with him getting submitted. But he's been training with Chimaev for a long fucking time, and it makes me wonder, like, how good is Gustafsson now? Like, does he still have the motivation to go out there? Is he really just coming out
Nope.
here for a paycheck? Like, I saw
Yep.
pictures of him on Instagram, and he didn't, like, if he came in here looking jacked and shredded, but he still has a little bit of like the fupa, and I'm like, I don't know if I can trust Gustafsson.
Nope.
Like, although I can't trust Krylov,
Oh hell no.
I can't trust either of them, man. Like, it could just be Krylov is like fucking styling on him, and then Gustafsson knocks him out. Oh man, it's like a lose lose situation. Like, clearly, I would stay away from it 100%. Like, there might be some people who are confident on either end. Right now, it's like 50-50, but 79-inch reach for Gustafsson. He's got a 2-inch height advantage. Like, you know what? I'm gonna do something that I tend to do, but I'm gonna ride or die with Gustafsson. I'm gonna pick him to win this one by a decision. I do not expect him to win. I do not. I don't expect him to win it, but I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna take, as purely a pick. I'm gonna go with Gustafsson, because if half of him shows up, half of his potential shows up, despite his age being fucking 35, I think he can knock out Krylov. Like, I don't expect it to happen. I do logically think Krylov's going to win it, but because I just cannot compel myself to trust Krylov to beat Gustafsson, I think Gustafsson wins this one by decision. I'll go a ride or die, as I would call it, with Gustafsson. So Gustafsson decision, and I'm pretty sure you're picking Krylov, right, Jose?
Yes, I am going with Krylov reluctantly by decision,
Shit, I
but
didn't
this
even read the odds.
is
I'm sorry. Let me read the odds. -200 Krylov, plus 160 Gustafsson. So I guess, yeah, there's
yeah,
that.
Krylov has no business being a -200 favorite against anybody, least of all Gustafsson. Yeah, I think Gustafsson. Let me see. The last time I actually believed in Gustafsson was um, at Jones versus Gustafsson 2, which was on 12/29/2018, which was that card. If you don't recall, that was the Picto Jones
Hmm.
fight where they moved the fight from Vegas to the LA Forum within a week of Jones testing positive for pictograms. And I managed to get a fantastic seat for super cheap at that fight. I felt like uh, I felt like Michelle Rodriguez. I felt like a celebrity there almost. Because I was like, fuck, I'm this close at a UFC pay per view. For super cheap. Um, so yeah. Since then he's had a really rough time. Both in and out of the octagon. I would imagine. Yeah, I'm not sure why he's coming back. I think he should just. I don't know. I think maybe he's trying to finish out his contract so he can go to Bellator or see what his options are. So because he still has I guess the name behind him. But
Hmm.
as far as him offering any sort of still offering any sort of challenge to any high level guys, I think he is. I think he's done, to be honest, including against Krylov. Krylov hasn't been impressive himself either. Um, yes, he is. He's fighting for the pride of Ukraine at this point. So I think that's all he has behind him, really. I mean, yes, his fight, his win against Fabio Maldonado, yes, it was impressive. back in 2018. But other than that, sure, he beat Johnny Walker, but big whoop-de-doo. Yeah, he got the shit. Well, I don't want to say he got the shit out of him, but yeah, he did to a certain extent by Magomed Ankalaev. He lost to Berju. Yeah, things aren't really looking good for him. But then again, he's going up against very, I don't know if depleted is maybe the right word for Gustafsson at this point. Maybe unmotivated, or I don't know, dude. I mean, really, it's those, like I said, it's that X factor of not knowing, what's going on in their personal lives as to what may be causing this or affecting their training.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, he's training with Ratlip, but um, he isn't Ratlip, right? He's a Viking minus the beard and I guess the anger at this point, anger issues. So yeah, I'll take Krylov. I would say I would also recommend stay away from this one because the odds are crazy. Odds are crazy. Anything can happen. We could see flashes of Gustafsson versus let's see what was a good win from Gustafsson versus Glover or something, or Jan Blachowicz. Yeah, dude, it's funny. He's beat the last few champions, in Jan as well as Glover, way back when.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That's very wild.
Yeah, and then like, what would they do to him now? Oh boy.
Oh, dude, yeah. Glover would, they'd turn him into a kebab. Glover would, basically pound him from behind, and Jan would. Anyway.
Shit. I just kind of thought, like, wouldn't it be cool? And then hear me out. Gustafsson knocks out Krylov, right? He knocks him out cold. He takes maybe a few months off. He fights, I don't know, some other fucking. He fights Berju. He knocks out Berju. There's talks about Gustafsson maybe fighting for the title, maybe just like for old time's sake. And then Jan ends up knocking out Jiri, and then Jan is like, I want to avenge my loss to Gustafsson. Let's fucking see Gustafsson versus Jan Blachowicz. Even as I say it out loud, I'm like, my thought was like, maybe the odds will be swayed in the favor of Gustafsson. I still don't fucking think so. Gustafsson would really have to like, I don't know, man. He's gonna have to do something crazy to like get those hypothetical odds in his favor, so I can slam it on fucking Jan. Anyways, that's just me being kind of stupid, but that's never gonna happen.
No, dude. Gustafsson would have to go through, the great Johnny Walker, Ryan Spann, Jamal Hill.
No, dude.
He'd have to go through No Time.
Give me fucking plus minus 200 on
the Devastator. He'd have to go through Dominic Reyes, man. Dude, that's a gauntlet that I don't think anybody would want to go through.
Yeah, but the thing about, if fucking the champ is like, hey, I want Gustafsson. I want to avenge my loss. Either one of them, like Glover or John, is like, yeah, like he's on a 2-fight win streak. Give me Gustafsson. The UFC is going to be like, okay. Like fucking the name recognition, the former title challenger who nearly defeated the long reigning UFC champion John Jones fighting whatever. So I do not fucking hold it. I believe they would fucking do that, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think they do it as more as a joke than anything else.
Yeah, like, hey, let's not make fucking money. Let's just fucking make this fight.
Hey guys,
let's make them pay fucking $100 for this shit.
Like, yeah, okay. They're like, hey, they're like, hey guys, we have a problem. We've made too much money this year. Let's do this instead.
Well, let's move on, dude. Like, I don't want to talk about Gustafsson anymore. We've got Paddy Pimblett versus Jordan Leavitt, and you know what I always find funny about Paddy Pimblett is that he's kind of eats a lot. So I came up with a pretty clever nickname for him.
Paddy the Fatty.
No, that's actually much better. Anyways, that's good.
Wait, what was your nickname?
Paddy the obese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? Was that it?
Yeah, that was exactly it. Damn, yours. How did you come up with that so fast?
It's just whenever I see those pictures, I was like, man,
Oh
that guy's
shit,
fatty.
man! I fuck. It was so simple. But anyways, the odds currently have it in favor of Paddy Pimblett. He's a minus
Fatty,
250.
fatty, patty.
Minus 250 comeback on Jordan Leavitt is a plus 200. And shit, man, like, what am I supposed to say about this shit? Like, I really want to see Jordan Leavitt twerk on the lifeless body of Paddy Pimblett. Like, that'd be hilarious. That'd be fucking hilarious. Like, it's a win-win for everybody, right? Jordan Leavitt becomes the biggest fucking megastar. He'll be on ESPN twerking on this fucking dude. Oh, dude, it ain't gonna happen though. I think Paddy Pimblett, for all his faults, right? Like he's a little hittable. I don't think he's gonna have a problem with Jordan Leavitt. Jordan Leavitt, he's implemented a new strategy of kicking your legs, and that's it. Obviously, he's trying to go for takedown. I think Paddy Pimblett's got significantly good grappling. I mean, not the best takedown defense, but I do think that it's going to go into a decision. If Paddy wants to go fucking ballistic and knock out Jordan Leavitt, he can try. But with Jordan Leavitt, I think what he'll end up doing is like pulling guard or like falling to his back. So I don't predict him getting knocked out by Paddy Pimblett. I don't know if Pimblett's going to be ballsy enough to try to get into the guard, which I think he should. Right, he should be ballsy and he should be able to do so. I think he can survive Levitt's guard. Right, like the thing about Jordan Leavitt is that he's very good. He's very flexible. He's very creative with the jujitsu, like the bottom game. It's just that when it comes to fighting certain level caliber fighters with also black belts, I don't think his shit's gonna work. Right, like he can probably sneak something out on a guy who doesn't really roll that much. Doesn't train jujitsu all the time. That's not their primary focus. Like maybe some strikers, but when it comes to Paddy, I don't see him getting submitted by Jordan Leavitt. And Paddy being the more physical striker, the better striker. Well, you know what? I don't see that going any way other than Paddy Pimblett's way. And if it goes to a decision for a very close fight, Paddy Pimblett's already got his name on the 30-27 card. So I'm gonna go with Paddy by decision. Um, shit. I always think like, can Jordan Leavitt knock out Paddy Pimblett? I doubt it, but it'd be really fucking funny. But I'm gonna go with Pimblett by a decision. I don't know if I read the odds, but yeah, minus 250 for Paddy, plus 200 for Leavitt, and yeah, I might parlay him up, but yeah, it's really Paddy's fight to lose, and I do not expect him to lose in the O2, as we've mentioned before. So decision for Paddy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy if he gets like a arm triangle choked or even anaconda choked or something. There's that possibility, but I think they're trying to build Paddy into the next McGregor, to a certain extent,
Yeah,
because he's got that as a freaky Frankenstein looking Simon, current Simon Cowell would say, he's got that X factor, um,
he
and
really
that's weird,
does.
man. I don't
You
I
know,
don't I
I
don't
need to, I
really
need to,
understand.
I need to cut you off for a second. Have I told you that Paddy Pimblett is the second guy that I've seen eat a 4x4 from In and Out, and he's like, "Oh, that's a proper burger." I'm like, "Oh shit." That's he's the second person I've ever seen eat one of those. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, I think I need to let my hair grow out and like you know, diet eventually. Actually, I'm gonna let my hair grow out. Cause well, first thing is my last haircut was kind of weird. It's like the side, where I normally part it. It's uneven. It's weird. It's like they have like strands hanging out. I look like Dennis the Menace to a certain extent. Have that thing hanging. But anyway, but yes, I also tend to enjoy the 4x4s myself, but I'm keeping it keto. So in other words, I'm doing the 4x4 animal style, protein style nowadays, um, and just doing grilled onions, which is god damn, that sounds really good. I haven't had breakfast yet. But yes, Patty the fatty or fatty Patty. Um, Yeah, dude, he's got to stop that shit because that guy's gonna catch up with him. Yes, he's still in
Yeah.
his 20s, but health-wise, that is not good.
Yeah, like
So
that's a
yes,
crazy shit, dude. Like I've seen him, his face gets fucking fat, and then I saw the video of him like rolling and training, and he's still got a fucking six pack. Like all the weight goes to his face. And I'm like,
yeah.
what the fuck? Like that's like good, I guess, but like, damn, dude, horrible genetics in that weight distribution. But I guess he still has a six pack. But
Yeah, that's gonna fuck him long term.
yeah,
He's gonna be at 28, he's gonna be like, yep, I have arthritis. Um, but anyway, yeah. So it's they got if he doesn't get submitted, they got plan A and plan B for him. So he's either gonna win by decision, knockout, or they're gonna have the backup split decision in case he gets nominated. But yeah, but go with Patty here. I think he's gonna win.
all right. Next bout taking place at middleweight. Very short notice. Co-main event. We've got Jack Hermanson versus Chris Curtis, and currently the odds have it in favor of. Let's take a look. Okay, it's not terrible. Minus 120 for Curtis. Come back on Hermanson plus 100. And damn, like I don't know if I want to say what I really think because like part of me wants to kind of keep the jinxing alive. If you kind of know where I'm going with, like I kind of want to keep it that way so I can make money this time. But this one to me is pretty simple, and I think Chris Curtis is going to knock out Jack Hermanson. Like, goddamn, Chris Curtis. Like, I keep counting him out. I don't think I've ever picked him to win a fight, which is insane. Like, the first two, I can excuse myself. Like, understandable. You have to fade this guy, right? You have to fucking fade Chris Curtis, guy who hadn't fought in some time, came in, fought Phil Hawes. We know what Phil Hawes can do. The guy's a fucking killer. And then he knocks out Phil Hawes. I'm like, okay, it's not out of the realm of possibility, right? I literally say this whole fucking speech every time Chris Curtis fights because I think it has to be said. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he knocks out Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes is fucking chinny, despite him being incredibly gifted. Good on Chris Curtis. And you're like, okay, he's going to fight Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen's pretty fucking good. I think he's going to end up catching Curtis in a submission. He fucking knocks him out too. I'm like, okay, not out of the realm of possibility itself either. I know Brandon Allen's got a pretty shitty chin himself. And then when he really he blew my fucking mind with his last win against Rodolfo Vieira because he showed something in that fight that I'm like, God damn, this guy's leveled up beyond the possibility that I could have ever thought when I first saw his fights when he fought at welterweight. I'm like, this fucking guy is on a literal fast track to knocking out Alex Pereira accidentally. And his takedown defense against Rodolfo Vieira, like Rodolfo Vieira is not like known as a great takedown guy, but like the way he handled him was very impressive. Like he did not allow himself to get anywhere near his legs. Jack Hermanson's more of a physical guy, right? If anyone's going to be able to take down Chris Curtis, it'll be Jack Hermanson. I just don't think he's going to get a chance. I think the way Chris Curtis fights, he's got a really solid chin at middleweight. His boxing is so fucking good. The best thing about Chris Curtis is his boxing, right? Like the way he attacks the body. Like he attacks the body almost as if he has no care in the fucking world. He throws it from like as he calls it, I think the meat hooks from far away. And then he comes up with the right hand, like left hook to the body, and then overhand right. And he does that so much that like I think it's going to really affect Jack Hermanson. I think he's going to get knocked out in the second round. The first round, I think Jack's going to shoot for the fucking for his job. He's going to shoot for his job. He might even get a takedown. He might even control Chris Curtis for a little bit, but Chris Curtis will get back up, and I think he's going to really put it on Jack. And Chris obviously he trains with Sean Strickland, and he's going to have a lot of info on Jack, right? He's going to know exactly how to defend Jack's takedowns. He's going to know exactly how to, attack Jack because Jack's kind of a long guy, 6'1" with a 77.5-inch reach. And Chris Curtis being the better striker between him and Sean Strickland, I think he's going to really put his hands on Jack Hermanson. I mean, I'm going to say it like if Jack Hermanson wins, I would not be surprised, right? Jack is still a very good fighter. He's still got that amazing ground and pound if he can get it to the ground, which as of late, I have my doubts with. Like he had struggles with Edmund Shabazian until Edmund kind of slowed down. And Chris, I don't expect him to. I don't expect him to slow down. And The only way I think Chris loses this fight is if he comes in here like incredibly overconfident and a little tired. Like he just fought like a few weeks ago and now he's fighting again. Sometimes that's really good for fighters, sometimes it's bad. In this particular case, I just don't think it's going to really affect Chris Curtis. He's been doing this for a while. He's fucking a huge veteran in the sport, and he's just got the hands, and he's going to light up Jack Hermannson. So I got Chris Curtis second round TKO. My biggest fear about me saying that, right, is that because I've been picking against Chris Curtis, me picking for him is going to just derail him. Hopefully I don't jinx him, but I got Chris Curtis by a second round TKO.
I don't know what I think of Chris, and again, this isn't because they all look alike to me, but I'm thinking of somebody else. When I see Chris Curtis's picture, I'm thinking of of a heavyweight. Man, that guy's name
Curtis
escapes
Blaydes?
me. No, not Curtis Blaydes. Shit, his name escapes me. But the pictures look similar, and I'm like, oh, this guy is not like a certain type of fighting style comes to mind. But anyway, yeah, dude, this is, I guess to a certain extent, the crowd's going to be behind Hermannson because he is European, but that English crowd can be very finicky, If you're not like from, any of those three islands or not three islands, three, or anywhere in the UK, they're kind of iffy about it, They can be really like, oh, you're fucking from Sweden, huh? Anyway, that's probably not how they make fun of them. They probably talk real shit. But, yeah, this is crazy, dude. This is Jack Hermannson has not a puncher's chance, but a submitter's chance. I want to say to submit Curtis, but yeah, no, more than likely, I think he's gonna get his ass beat. That's gonna suck for him. It's gonna suck for the crowd because I think they're gonna be fairly pro European fighters, or non-American. I'd say for the most part non-American, non-American fighters here, especially I think in the co-main event and main event for certain reasons. But yeah, this is crazy. This is to think I'm going against Jack Hermannson, but yeah, to a certain extent, I think of Jack. It's funny. I think Jack Hermannson should have been, or they should have traded places on the card with Paul Craig, and I think Paul Craig should have been the co-main event with Volkan. I think it's probably bigger names anyway, at least in my point of view. Not only that, but they would have gotten Paul Craig winning in the co-main event, and then I guess we'll get to the main event in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it kind of sucks. So to me, it's like okay, great. They get Paddy Pimblett, who's going to win. Then they're going to alternate with Hermannson, the European, losing, and then we'll get, like I said, we'll get to the main card in a second. So that sucks for him. But I think Chris Curtis is going to light him up like a Swedish Christmas tree, if they have Christmas in Sweden, which I don't know. So it sucks for Hermannson, but I think he's on his way out because he's been, I would say, the first time that I really got disappointed with, or I should say my biggest, not disappointment, but I guess you can say disappointment, was Cannonier. I think he should have beat Cannonier. That was ass beat. Sure, he did beat Shabazian, that piece of shit. But apparently he lost to Chimaev in wrestling.
Yeah,
he lost to Sean Strickland. And yeah, so I think he's going to get his ass beat here. Sucks for him. So taking Chris Curtis by TKO in the second round.
Main event, we've got at heavyweight Curtis Blaydes versus Tom Aspinall, or as we call him, Brother Tom, Black Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Razor Blaydes. Currently, the odds have it in favor. It's pretty close, but minus 135 for Tom Aspinall. Comeback on Curtis Blaydes is a plus 115. This one's really fucking good. This is a really good heavyweight fight. Like, usually you get heavyweight fights, I'm like, oh, they're going to end in the first round by knockout because they're going to swing wild. And this one's a lot more technical, a lot more cerebral between these two guys because it's like they're both relatively complete. Curtis Blaydes, he's really like he was on my fade list for a long time. Like, dude, he makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes. Like, you know when to pick your spots with Curtis, and I didn't pick my spot correctly against him and Christakis because I thought to myself like, oh, Chris Dawkins, obviously the striker, he can knock out anybody. He's got quick hands, right? He's got very fast hands, and despite being a smaller heavyweight, like he's got the speed. And Chris or Curtis Blaydes, he he tends to do the Vandera. You know what I mean? Like motherfucker wrestle, and then he tries to strike too much, and then it ends up, catching him when he tries to wrestle, or he ends up getting hurt and he tries to like panic wrestle. So I thought that's going to happen here again. He's going to try to keep it on the feet, and I think there's going to be a chance that Chris Dawkins knocks him out. What impressed me is that he did that. Chris Curtis, goddammit, Curtis Blaydes. Now I'm doing it, Jose. Give me my hood. Curtis Blaydes, he kept it on the feet. He didn't try to wrestle, not even fucking once, and he knocks out Chris Dawkins. I'm like, I've been corrected here. Like, holy shit. Whether it be that, Chris Dawkins didn't prepare correctly, like he thought he was gonna get wrestled on more or whatever. It was very impressive from Curtis Blaydes. Like he finally showed that he's not just a wrestler, because I always thought his striking was good, but he shouldn't take that route. Don't fucking strike with better strikers than you. Like he's striking with fucking Rosenstrike, and then he panic wrestled. Like Rosenstrike, I think cracked him in that fight, and then he panic wrestled. Now, is he going to do the same shit with Tom Aspinall? Because if he
Yes.
wrestles Tom, right? If he wrestles Tom, there's a very good chance he can give him a good old fashioned American Revolution ass whooping in the O2, 100% Like that's the thing. Will Curtis Blaydes wrestle? Right? Will he be too afraid? Like, what will Tom Aspinall do to negate, not necessarily negate the wrestling, but to make Curtis Blaydes afraid to shoot, right? Will he like throw an uppercut? Will he do a flying knee? He has to do something. So it's all really dependent on Tom Aspinall. And what I say, this is like an incredibly close fight, because if Tom Aspinall does, and I think he's a smart fucking guy. I think he's a really good heavyweight. He's 6'5". He's just as big as Curtis Blaydes, right? Just as physical, just to me a lot faster, a lot crisper with the strikes. Obviously, he has the jujitsu. Will he be able to take Curtis Blaydes down? You would think not, right? Like Curtis Blaydes is a fucking all-American wrestler, but when you're that fucking big, and if you're tired, right? If Curtis Blaydes eventually gets tired in the later rounds, maybe even round two, shit, what's going to happen there? And I do believe that if Tom Aspinall gets taken down, I don't know if he's going to try to get back up, because if he does, that's wasted energy. Or will he try to like play the bottom game with Curtis Blaydes, right? Will he try to sweep him, try to go for a Kimura trap and then sweep him over, try to get on top, ground and pound, weight throw elbows? Because the more Curtis Blaydes decides to wrestle, I think the more tired he gets. I don't think his cardio is all that great, especially when there's resistance. Because when we saw him fight Volkov, despite Volkov kind of giving up takedowns a little easily later in the rounds, it got a lot harder for Curtis Blaydes, and he was fucking fighting for those takedowns. Being that it's a 5-round fight, that might come into play, because it's such a good fight. It's a really good fight. Not often do you have a heavyweight fight where you have to be very like thoughtful and cerebral about it. Um, to me, though, the favorite should be Tom. I think he's got more ways to win the fight by finishing the fight. Curtis Blaydes has a better way of winning the fight by decision, but will he be able to maintain a certain pace and be able to tire out Tom Aspinall? Like, to me, if Tom gets in a position that he can't defend the takedown, I think he might just be like, fucking take me down. See what happens, bitch. And maybe Curtis will be like, shit, I don't know, like, if I want to get straight armbarred. Like, he might not get the actual armbar on him. Like, he might go for the Kimura, or maybe a straight arm lock, and he may not like it. Like, I don't really like it. I don't want to take him down again. Let me see if I can strike with him. If he does that, he might get fucking caught with something, because, man, if it gets into the clinch, I think Tom's going to have a better overall clinch game. Like, he might knee to the body. I think he's much faster than Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes sometimes telegraphs his takedowns, like his double legs, from fucking far away, and he does it a little too often. And I think Tom, I'm very excited for this one, because it could go either way. Really, I want to see Tom enter the title picture 100%. I think he's going to be a really good addition to that talk. Like, I'd love to see Tom versus Francis Ngannou. I think that'll be a fucking fantastic fight, and I can break that shit down. Power versus technique. Sometimes technique doesn't work. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm gonna stick with Tom. Like, he has not let me down. I was worried about the height of Volkov, and the way he handled Volkov in his last fight. Right, he fucking armbarred the motherfucker. And then as I'm looking at this happening, I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. Like, how come I never thought of it? Like, well, obviously I'm not fighting Volkov, so I'm not game planning for the guy. But the guy has long arms. You put him on his back, attack the fucking arms, right? Like, his arms are long and lanky. He's gonna tap out, and he fucking did. I'm like, I was amazed. I'm like, oh my god, such a simple thing, and Tom Aspinall like was able to figure it out. And as you can see in the picture, Curtis Blaydes fucking exhausted doing anything with Volkov, which that doesn't mean shit when it comes to styles and whatnot. But I'm really high on Tom. I've been for a while, and I think it's his time. Like, the tattoo on his back, I think it's his time. So I'll go with Tom Aspinall, whether it be second or third. I don't think it's going to happen fast. I don't think it'll be in the first round, but I'm going to say maybe he's going to TKO Curtis Blaydes in like round number 3, round number 2. I don't think he can submit him. I know Curtis has really been training his jiu-jitsu defense. There's been pictures of him training with like high-level jiu-jitsu aces, like getting on his back and stuff. So I know he's training that. I know he's taking Tom a serious threat when it comes to the jiu-jitsu, because you have to, right? You really do. Is he neglecting his striking capabilities? I'm excited as fuck to see this fight. I'm going to go with Tom Aspinall, round number 3. I think it'll be kind of Curtis Blaydes fight for the first round and a half, and then he might get a little tired, and that's exactly when Tom Aspinall is going to like start letting it go, let his hands go, trying flying knees up the middle, uppercuts, just to kind of discourage Blaydes from shooting. And then eventually he catches him with something really fast. I don't know what he's going to catch him with, whether it be an elbow or just a straight hand, a straight punch down the middle that hurts Blaydes. Blaydes, he'll try to like shoot for a takedown like from fucking far. Tom's going to sprawl, go to the side, and just pound him out. That's how I see this happening. Round number 3, TKO Tom Aspinall.
I actually see Blaydes going wrestle heavy in the first round and getting that power uppercut. Kind of how. Wait, was it? Is that how
Black Beast?
Yeah, Black Beast knocked him out, right? That's how I remember. That's how I see this fight going. Yeah, I think Curtis Blaydes has good striking, and it could even be great. If I would say if he worked on that more. If he worked on that and having it, having his style be more of, what am I going to do? Am I going to strike with you? Am I going to wrestle with you? Versus just be like, yeah, I'm just going to wrestle with you, sort of thing. I think I think he would even be champ, if he changed his style to be more fluid between striking and wrestling, to where he wrestle when he needed to versus when he just feels desperate.
Yeah, like basically getting into the pocket, landing like a 1-2, and then maybe something to the body, and then going for the takedown instead of just just punch, kick, and then takedown. I'm like, motherfucker, that's my biggest criticism about the fucking guy. Like, he's a good striker.
Levels.
Yeah, dude, like mixing it up. Don't just strike. Don't go into like. I picture it like he's got a switch on him, like striking mode and then grappling mode. I'm like, no, it should be the same fucking setting, right? Like, mix it up. Which, that's my biggest criticism about Curtis. Like, why I always think, like, if he tries to stick on, what if he's stuck on striking mode one day and he gets fucking knocked out because he can't switch into the wrestling gear? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but I think he's a solid guy. I really do. I think he could have been champion. I 100% think if fucking Ngannou wasn't there, he'd be champion right now. But I fuck, because he wouldn't have had to fight Black Beast. And he fought Black Beast like a moron, man. I was like, that's exactly what he did. He was in striking mode, and then he switched to wrestling mode, and that's exactly what the Black Beast needed to see. And then, bam, like, he shot for that takedown on the power side from far away. And it's like, dude, that's why I'm like, I can't trust Curtis Blaydes sometimes, despite me being like I'm not shitting on the guy, but like I can't trust him sometimes with certain fighters, and he
Yeah,
could prove me wrong again. But I'm going to take a shot on Tom. I think he's the real deal.
yeah. I think this is. Yeah, I definitely think this is his time. This is his fight, and he's gonna move forward. Let's see. Um, let's see. So he's number 5 currently. Yeah, I think after this. No, sorry, he's number 4, I should say. So if Stipe doesn't keep bitching about like, oh hey, I still want my I'm not gonna fight anybody but the champ sort of thing. I think after this, if Stipe doesn't want to fight, he's gonna have to fight Bone Gaiman, Cyril Gain, to get to Francis. Otherwise, I think if it's impressive enough of a win, yeah, they'll give him to Francis, and then he'll end up negating Francis's newfound wrestling, grappling, whatever you want to call it, and beat the shit out of him. And then Francis is going to revert to, his freaky windmill punches, where he just catches you. But yeah, I think Tom Aspinall is the next challenger for Ngannou at this point. I think
Well,
Curtis Blaydes, man, he's I don't like, who do I compare him to? Like, he's just that guy who is like on the cusp of greatness, but there's like that, just that brick wall or that hump that he can never get over. You know what I mean? And really, it's just it sucks because yeah, I think he should be champion, man. Yeah, for sure. But as it currently stands, Aspinall's the next guy. Miocic, I
well,
think he's
Miocic might be
fucking
fighting Jones, possibly. There's like
allegedly. They're both
allegedly.
pieces of shit.
Well,
Pieces of shit.
are you saying that because of Brock Lesnar?
No, just because they're
Miocic, you're a
both.
piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, no, if I would say that, then I would say that about Ngannou. And yes, Ngannou is a piece of shit as well because of Brock Lesnar. Um, but it's funny when you were talking about Blaydes and you're like, hey man, Blaydes, he fought Rosen, he's striking with strikers, he's getting fucked up, especially Rosenstrike. Rosenstrike has the word strike in his name. You shouldn't strike with him. He should fucking know better,
Yeah.
If you have the word strike in your name, fucking just do your best to wrestle fucking.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. He was in striking mode, and then it's like I don't like this. Let me go and switch into wrestling mode, and then he did, and he won the fight. But I'm like, don't play that fucking game. Don't give your opponent the opportunity to knock you out, which is like it's gonna catch up with you, and it did with Black Beast, and I thought it would with Chris Dawkins, but he proved me wrong there. He knocked him the fuck out. But it's like, dude, you got to be a little bit more. You fuck, never mind. I was going to say something that was going to be a little too fucked up, but
That's a pussy.
no, I was going to say don't fight the way you talk. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because he's never. And some people will get it, but yeah, just yeah, be a little bit more articulate, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's why I feel bad for Curtis Blaydes. I'm like, he's a very like, I like him. I think he's a great fighter, but he just has that. I don't know, dude. It's like something is holding him back. There's something. I don't know. Maybe it's his coaches fucking with him. They're like, hey, we're gonna train him wrong for this fight, as a joke or something. I don't know, dude.
I don't know. I do think he, like, I could be wrong, right? This is just me speculating. Like when I see Tom Aspinall fight, I don't see him worried, right? I don't see him overthinking. I think I just see him doing. Like he is confident in himself. With Curtis Blaydes, what I see sometimes, like he overthinks, he hesitates. That hesitation costs him a lot. And that's what I worry about. Like sometimes the hesitation isn't going to bite him in the ass. Like he's going to land the right punch, or he's going to get the single leg or the double leg, blast him against the cage, get on top, and fuck his opponent up. And at that point, like that's where he feels comfortable, obviously on the ground. But when he's on the feet, sometimes like I think he overthinks a lot, and it bites him. And I always worry about that. As much as like I like Curtis and I want him to be successful, that hesitation is what I'm betting against, is that he might have some success and then later down the line he overthinks things or something happens and Tom's like, we're in a proper fight here, and he just does what he needs to do to win. So I think we've kind of covered this quite a lot. It's just, we'll see what happens. Great fight. I'm very excited to see it.
I think the card itself is going to be pretty good for the most part. I think they set it up, to give the O2 crowd, a lot to yell about. So I think they set up these matches specifically, and I think they set them up to where they're going to be not too overly like, oh yeah, for sure, all the English or UK fighters are going to win. They didn't want to make it too obvious, but they still want to give the crowd, some sort of like, all right, that was a great fight. These guys, it was like to make it seem a little bit more competitive.
This isn't the Brazil card, is what you're saying. Like, oh,
yeah,
we're going to
exactly.
have Vitor Belfort fight, I don't fucking know, Costa Philippou.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, Costa Philippou. That's a name from the past. Dude, do you have anything else to add before we head out?
No, really. I think, yeah, like I said, the only thing I would have changed on this card is the order of putting the co-main, Jack Hermannson and Chris Curtis at the beginning of the main card and have the Paul Craig fight be the co-main. I think that would have been more, or even switch them between, or have Paddy have been the co-main, because he's going to be the guy, he's going to, I think, get the biggest pop from the crowd for sure.
Well, I don't disagree, but part of me is like, I think Chris Curtis kind of deserves that co-main event. So I'm like, I get it, but yeah, Curtis, he's knocked out some guys, and I think he deserves having that like co-main event status. If he knocks out Hermannson, I'd be interested to see if they would put him in a main event, like on a fight night against, I don't fucking know, like the winner of Costa versus Luke Rockhold, aka Costa. Yeah. So we'll see, but we'll end it there, dude. That's been Johnny and Jose with TigerBomb MMA. Our predictions for Blaydes versus Aspinall. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Always respond to all the comments because I like it. And yeah, fuck Olberg.